Biskot And Sohiong. Hey.
जो बनाएगा 5 feet is good enough because after sitting also then you can read and 15 feet instead of 10 it should be 15 feet.
The Biskot And Sohiong Festival 2018 was organized by the Directorate of Horticulture on 21st September 2018 at the All Saints Cathedral Hall from 10 a.m. till 5 p.m. With the theme being important food sources for nutrition and livelihood, this one-day event was held with the objective of showcasing and promoting these crops to boost awareness as well as to promote the utility and their value-added products. The event was participated by the district horticulture officers from East Khasi Hills, West Khasi Hills, Southwest Khasi Hills, West Jaintia Hills and West Garo Hills. Others who participated and put up display stalls at the festival during this one-day event were the Office of Project Director Atma, RRTC Umran, Hills Farmers Association, Lausotan Organic Producers Society and Fruit Preservation Center, Shillong. The other prominent institutions who also participated and put up stalls and products for sale were the Shillong Wine Association, Meghalaya Institute of Entrepreneurship, Directorate of Fisheries, Krishi Vigyan Kendra Shillong and Institute of Hotel Management, Shillong. This festival was inaugurated by the Chief Secretary to the Government of Meghalaya, Mr. Yeshit Shering IAS, who visited the participant stall to look through the various products put up for display during this festival. In the afternoon, Mr. Bante Dor Lingdo, Honorable Minister of Agriculture, graced the occasion with his presence as the chief guest during the valedictory function. He also visited and perused through the products displayed at the stalls in the festival and enjoyed
ingredients for the chayote, which is the side dish. Okay, we can take the chayote cut or the biscuit cut lengthwise, and then after that you can make the ingredients, which you can add a little bit of seasoning, salt, pepper. Then after that you can add some herbs, some garlic, minced garlic, salt. Then after that you can add a little bit of sugar, a little bit of vinegar also to give a tinchy taste to it. So in salad also it is very good when you make it and when you eat raw also. Even you can cook the skin of it also, you can eat the skin of it when it is in the right state. See, chayote also or the biscuit we can bake different type of things. We can cut it lengthwise and then we can scoop a little bit of the chayote from it after cutting it into lengthwise, and then we can put the mixture on top by using the little bit of butter. Then you add the chayote, then you add the cream, then you add the cheese, a little bit of breadcrumbs to make it dry, and then after that you can bake it in the oven for not much time, for 10 to 20 minutes. For chayote also you can stir fry here, which I'm just presenting you. Stir fry also can be done. You can cut it into slices, into thin slices, okay? And then after that you can add a little bit of vegetable oil, and then on top of that you can add the slightly pounded ginger and then salt. Then even with carrot also you can blend with it, and then you can add onions, white wine, a little bit of green peas, a little bit of vegetable stock, and if you want to add chicken also, shredded chicken, boneless chicken, you can add with it. It'll make a very good taste when it is come to stir fry. Then you can roast it. Again, this chayote you can do for roasting. It will be like you can add different types of herbs, dry herbs which you get in the market, thymes, then those rosemary. Here we can add dry thyme, then a little bit of garlic, some salt, then pepper, onions, and then spring onions too on top for garnish. And you can roast it inside the oven. This also will be giving you a great dish. Next also I have prepared here, this is called the stew chayote, where you can stew it with any vegetable stock, a chicken stock, any type of stock you can stew it and add a little bit of ingredients. Once you add a little bit of ingredients, it will give a taste to this bland vegetable. Okay, so here the stew chayote is there. Next, the salad again, you can make thinly sliced, and then after that chili pepper, seeded, finely chopped. Then a little bit of, if you add cilantro, or we say the coriander leaves, lemon juice, then olive oil, apple cider, you can add vinegar also if you don't have this apple cider vinegar, brown pepper and all. Anything, this vegetable, I'll tell you, it can make from innumerable type of dishes from it. Now we have the gravy, okay, where we prepare every day at home. We can use the gravy, like a little bit we saute it with onions, oil, and then a little bit of tomato puree. And then after that we can do the tempering also on top. Tempering is what we say in Khasi, kala, bakala dai and all like that. Separately we can add a little bit of urad dal, that is to udai bali. Then after that mustard seeds, you can temper it, put cumin seeds, and then you can add the curry leaves on top and temper it. So this is also make a great dish when you make the curry of the chayote. Again the chayote pulao or the chayote, whatever you say, biskot. Again this pulao also you can make. It will be very good for the kids and all. They'll be able to have, because if you give kids like that chayote in the plate, nobody will eat. But when you make into a pulao, a delicious pulao, this also will add a great taste in it, and they will not come to know that it is biskot or it's chayote. Okay? This also you can add in it, just fry it, a little bit, cut into pieces. Fry it with a little bit of oil or a little bit of desi ghee, and then after that you can add some masalas and all, cardamom, cinnamon, cloves, bay leaves, a little bit of turmeric, a little bit of curd you can saute in it, so that will give a little bit of thickening agent. Then after that you can make into a good pulao. Then we can make into a soup also. Sometimes we neglect it. Sometimes we go only for tomato soup or for any type of soup, but chayote also is a very good soup. It is very nutritious also, and especially for children and all who doesn't have anything. It's very good for digestive and all also. The soup is very easy to make. First you boil it, the chayote, and after that you can a little bit saute in butter and a little bit of onions, saute it, and then add a little bit of chicken stock if you want to put some flavor in it, or a vegetable stock for the vegetarian. Then after that you can blend it into the grinder and take it out and make a nice soup. This is called the chayote chips. I'll just show you this. You can make into chips also. You can cut it, and then after that you can season it and put inside the oven. It will be a little bit slightly heavier. It won't be that crispy as a potato, but it will also make a little bit of a difference also from the other chips whatever you get in the market. So this also can be done. Okay, you can wash and peel the chayote, slice as thin and evenly as possible. Then you have coat with a little bit of olive oil, so that it will be lighter, not too much of grease. And also you can dust it with a little bit of flour. Okay, you can use flour also, so that it will become dry, and then you can bake it for 20 to 25 minutes and it will become dry, and then you can take it out. But you have to eat as long as you take out from the oven, because it will become crispy. This is also stuffed chayote with mushroom and tomato. Just stuff it, take a little bit of the pulp of the chayote, and then you can mix the mixture in it. You can add different types of ingredients in it. It goes with any type of masalas, whether it's in English herbs or the Indian. Then after that you can put a little bit of mushroom in it to add flavor to it. Then after that you can put a little bit of cheese, and then you can bake it inside the oven. So we have come to the end of the dishes. Any question with the dishes?
Kalong kajing kerpat ikinong rap kamtam na marngatip na bun ki distrik Yawan. Te pijia persang na kaliam jong pi manchna ki nala deki asyara tila dadan ba fi kwa ban pentebet ikong idan hangni
Madam manchina kan na ha tang may ba ko biskot ko mekke nakta nga mekke nakta nga kan han di ba ina sumay ko ba masir ki sa ode nakta ngen singat tay ba kan skage.
So Biskot, I think so from Biskot we can make different types of dishes, right? From achar to salads to dessert to anything. Even in dessert also you can use, which I have not included here. Desserts like kheer you can use. You can add it in kheer. It will blend well also because it is not. It's a very bland in taste. So when you put the grated squash in it or the Biskot in it, and then add with a little bit of rice, johar rice, and then cook it with milk, that also will give a very good taste to it. So from Biskot, I think so we have different types of dishes where when we speak in culinary terms, it starts right from the salad to the dessert. Anything you can make, you can go with the vegetarian, you can go with the non-veg, koftas, then even with chicken, even with mutton. Paratha also, which is now we are making a paratha there, Biskot paratha. What we do is that we take the Biskot, we grate it. After grating it, we put together with the potatoes so that it will blend with it. Then after that, what we do, we stack inside the parathas. So that also will give a very good taste and a very good also it will be very new also to people. We have different types of dishes where we have prepared right from the cakes. Just about Sohiong also, I just want to share you that in cakes in Sohiong also, what we have done is that we have made different types of cakes. From the Sohiong, we take out the pulp, we mix with the flour, and then after that, what we do is that on top also we can garnish it with that Sohiong pulp. So I think so it is on display there. Even muffins also we can do this by using the pulp of the Sohiong. That also will make a great taste to it, and it will help for the bakeries also to give a different taste to it. I've just prepared how to eat. I think so everybody knows how to eat this. It is right from the leaves also we used to boil it, and then it is very good for health. Then the fruits or the vegetable which we can use also, we can add it with pasta. Then after that also we can use a shoot also we used to fry it. That will be a very good taste. Some facts I've just found out and then I've just added here. So these are the things like starchy tuberous root and vines are used as cattle fodders. Fruit and roots are used not only as food but also for food fodder for cattle in America and India. Due to its flexibility and strength of the stem fiber, they are used to reunion in handicraft to make basket and hats also. This is also can be used from the stem of the Biskot or the chayote. Then chayote plants are used efficiently in mixed plantation design, especially for soil recovery. That the horticulture will be knowing better. Then flowers are good for nectar sources for bees. So we have to be very precaution while cutting the squash, because I think it produces a kind of a substance which is the white latex that comes out from it. Sometimes it gives a peculiar sensation. Okay, so we have to be very careful when we cut the Biskot. Okay, economic use of Biskot, which is a very important thing, we want to discuss this. We can use Biskot, bulk cooking, in midday meal. I think so midday meal everybody is doing in Meghalaya. We are also part of the midday meal where we went for training to train the cooks of the midday meal. So here also we can introduce the Biskot as a midday meal because it is grown abundantly in Meghalaya. Why not give to the midday meal school, to the school also? They should give this to the school so that the school children also will at the same time get the nutritious food. Then in hostel mess, now in IHM Shillong, we are taking the Biskot from the Hills Farmers Union, Hill Farmers Association, which is in Maukurwat. So now we are ordering about 100 kgs, more than 1,000 kgs I think. So we have ordered from there. Every week it's coming to IHM Shillong, and we'll be utilizing it for different types of dishes as well as the hostel mess which we have there. Then we also can introduce in marriages also. Why not in marriages? Marriage also nowadays, they should take the initiative to use it and to make into a special dish and all. I think people will have. It will be a wonderful dish if we start making it. And I hope so hoteliers also will start trying, like as what we did for the jackfruit. So even this also we should try and we should encourage so that it will help the farmers also. The next we can do as also for birthday parties, and also this also would be one of the delicacies. If we can make it very nicely and all, people will not understand also that it is a biscuit, which is a left behind vegetable in Meghalaya. Then in school canteens also. Okay, so these are the things which we can use, economic use for the farmers, which will help for their biscuit, where I heard that they are selling for just 1 rupee a kg, whereas in Shillong we buy it for 25 rupees a kg. I come to the end of my presentation. So I think so you have understood. And any questions which you have?
I support, madam, what you said for the midday meal.
Yes.
I also suggesting in before in my village. Scott is only one-time investment to grow. Once you done this
Seed,
seed,
planting.
planting, you know,
Yes.
it
It will be forever only.
forever only.
Yes.
Even I'm also a Scott growers. Whole year I'm earning from the Scott. So even till today, every day I can eat Scott. I never fed up.
Right.
Yeah. Even once I experience from the outsiders from other country, they came to my village. Then I cook it for Scott. He never eat other curry. Only he eats only Scott. Even I'm also for the Scott is important for us. Even in the village, you know, sometimes because of sick, people are saying don't eat this disease, but Scott is always permitted to eat. Yeah. So thank you. Then I.
Any more questions? Thank you, sir, for sharing with us.
Yeah, one thing, sorry. So, we missed some.
Yes,
your-
please kindly share.
Shall we get this copy of this?
Yes, you can get. No problem.
Okay. Then, even in, it's possible to your institution to teach us how to make this one. Actually, today is.
Actually, in our institute, I'll just
Yeah.
tell you, we can, if you are, we can give you that free course, which is 6 days course.
Okay.
Okay, it is a skill training. That is a free course from the Ministry of Tourism, Government of India. That is a free course where we can give you the training for 6 days. So on that 6 days, if you come, you can approach us, and then after that we can make the program, and then after that we can teach you from the different types of varieties of squash.
Thank you,
That is
madam.
welcome to our college.
Then thank you, madam.
Good morning, everyone. Very nice presentation, madam. You have brought all the facts, which are which is much more. It's an eye-opening regarding the Biskot. Madam, I would like to share something regarding the Biskot. As throughout the whole world, we talk about the food security. We are talking about going towards and making those steps, taking those steps where we can have the food security, because the resources are going to get scarce in the days to come. These type of initiative is going to help us to meet the need of the need of the food. And these practices, as brother had said, that it's a one-time investment or one-time initiative, and he is getting the fruit throughout the whole year. Not much of investment, it's very less investment, and looking at the nutritional aspects madam has discussed, we are getting a lot of out of something which doesn't need much of care, like we do for other grains, vegetables and fruits. So this Biskot is going to help us, and using this indigenous product of Meghalaya. Biskot is, I think it's an indigenous product, indigenous vegetable and fruit that we get out of it. So it's going to help us in getting rid of the the deficiencies, the diseases that we suffer from. It's going to be very helpful if it can be incorporated in, as madam has said, in midday meal, hostel mess, school messes, and in whatsoever we have social functions. But madam, I want to ask one thing. Can we use Biskot in South Indian dishes?
Yes, that is also we can use in sambar and all.
Okay.
Sambar will go well with it.
So it can be very good substitute for other vegetables that we
Yes,
use.
Yes, yes.
Okay,
Very
ma'am.
good substitute also, like potato. Instead of it's, I told you from the beginning, it's between potato and cucumber. So it will be very good also. Sometimes we take potato, we feel so heavy and all, it will be too filling. But biscuit is very light. So it is very good also and it will blend.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you for your sharing. Yes, yes, please carry on.
Good afternoon, everyone. Ma'am, a small question that Biskot also has lots of water content in it. So after we use the solid part, after grating or chopping it, can we use the water part for making some dishes like drinks like pannas and all?
Yes,
Can we
yes,
do that?
we can use different types. I think in our, I forgot to mention, we have smoothie also we are making from it, which is the juice of it we have taken out. Then after that we can use as smoothie and then we can use as aam ki panna, like what we use in mango. Here we can use with the biscuit juice. So it will be very good also for the juice also. Very effective as a dish, as a juice or whatever is it also.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. Ma'am, regarding your presentation, I also want to ask something about Sohiong. Can I ask, ma'am?
Yes, yes.
Ma'am, as we know, Sohiong is the fruit is very limited. The larger part of the fruit is the seed.
Yes, yes.
Is there any use for the seed, ma'am? How can we use the seed of
can
the
be
soy?
dried and then can be powder and used as a piggery feed.
Okay,
I think
okay,
I believe I've seen there outside also it is used, so that will be the best part for it, not
Okay.
to throw it also.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
So I am from Tamil Nadu, madam.
Yes,
I am
sir.
from Atomic Energy Employee, madam.
Sure.
I see in Northeast में that Biskot, what you in Tamil Nadu में they told that Bangalore, Brinjal, like this, the people are told there's anything is available. Here a number of available is there, but lot of things are going waste. Why can't you make pickles and exported by government of Meghalaya? Some possible is there?
Yes, we are making pickles. Outside also we are selling
But I
some
think
pickles.
not such famous is required.
Yes.
What is the need? Because some
We'll have
tasty,
to do
some-
that processing.
that's what I told.
We need processing for it. So we'll be working on itself in the near future in our institute. So we'll be giving it to outside also.
Welcome. Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ma'am, I'm just passing through.
Yes, yes. Very nice.
So, yeah. I really love this biscuit and I eat in all kinds of forms. And I just would like to share one kind of, preservation that is dried one. I don't know whether you had talked it about or not. I just came in and what I used to do is I used to shred it with by using of a shredder and dried it in the sun,
Yes.
and keep it in the jar.
Yes, yes.
And then when it is over, then it's very nice.
Okay.
So that's
So it becomes dry.
Yeah, it dried, and if you dried it, you can sell it
Yes.
during off season also.
Or you can
That
put
is very nice.
inside the curry also by just
Yeah,
inside
of course,
Yes.
and curry, soup, and all that.
Yes, yes. Okay, ma'am. Thank you
Okay,
for
I
that.
just want to
also,
share
ma'am.
that.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. It's very good idea also for it. We'll not waste it also. So I thank all of you for your patience listening. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everybody. While he is still closing down his program, I think I better start. I will not take up too much time. I'm sure all of you have your own things that you'll want to do. First of all, it gives me a lot of pleasure, and I consider it a great opportunity to be able to talk to all of you, and I see that there's quite a good number of people here, about wine making. Wine making, especially from the fruit that we get here in our area itself. We happen to be the pioneers in wine making, not only wine making for consumption in the family, but for sale. We are yet to get recognition by the government of the state in that they will impose a certain duty on us, they will impose certain rules and conditions, which are now being worked out. The matter has been taken up with the cabinet, and I hope that within another month or two, we will be a fully qualified group to sell our products, not only on occasions and on festivals where we get special permission and we also get subsidies for the things that we do and exceptions. But that we might also be able one day to sell our products beyond the boundaries of our state. Sohiong is a natural fruit growing in our state, and this is the season when we get it in abundance. This may not be the best season to make wine, but the more it gets spoiled, the better wine it makes. So you can wait for your Sohiong to spoil, and as much as it spoils, it gives you still the better and better wine. There is no such thing as spoiled Sohiong, throw it away, convert it into wine. But I'm not going to let it go off so easily and as if it's that you might take it too lightly. We've got to remember that there are very validated procedures, or procedures that have been very well stipulated. They're very hygienic, so that the wine that you get can be of the highest quality. And as you know, wine doesn't have an expiry date. The older it gets, the better it gets. As far as the association that I'm working in, we have about 13 of us who are making wine, and we never seem to have wine that can last beyond 1 year. In spite of all 13 of us trying our best to make as many bottles as possible, we make it as a cottage industry in our own cottages, in our own homes, and we never have enough to be able to keep it for a year or beyond a year. With great luck, we might have some specimens, some bottles that we intentionally set aside to keep for our own purposes, which might be 5 years, might be 10 years. There may be some people who have got it for beyond that period as well. But that is because of their personal interest. I will try and talk on how to make this wine so that there can be more entrepreneurs from among you who might want to join us and to expand our society. Like I said, we have Sohiong growing wild in our state. You don't have to do anything to get the tree to grow and to get the tree to fruit. So when you have conditions such as that, I'm sure you should take the maximum opportunity that you get. There are many things that you can do with Sohiong. Yeah, you can make jam, you can make fruit juices, but wine has a special purpose. Wine has a special place. The hope, obviously, is that one day there will be less people drinking foreign-made liquor and more people taking on to our Sohiong wine. For now, our society and our association that we have works only in Shillong. We would love to expand the activities of our association to every district in the state. In fact, it has been my personal ambition and probably a mission that I'm going to take up, that to try and introduce Sohiong making in all the important tourist destinations of our state, so that the tourists don't have to carry bottles from wherever they've come and wherever they have to see a fine town, but they can go to our tourist destinations, and there they can find people who make wine in their houses, and wine that is of the highest quality that meets all the international standards. And when I say international standards, I'm not just saying it off the cuff, but the Sohiong wine that we make has been taken to Delhi, where a delegation of those who had come from NESFAS, foreigners had come from abroad, and they had a meeting in Delhi, and we were asked to especially produce our wine and to give it to them there so that they can taste it. Now, most of them consider our wine to be a dessert wine, but these are the professional wine drinkers. When you have your professional wine drinkers, they have a difference in taste between the dessert wine, or let's call it the wine that comes after you've eaten, and the wine that comes before, the aperitivo and the digestivo. So if you're going to have your aperitivos, or the wines that you drink before you eat your food, well, there's a way of making that. And if you have wines that you're going to have post-meal, and there's a way of making that as well. Most of us here in Shillong, we make wines that are for post-meal, after your food. But a lot of the people here, they don't even bother about whether this is a digestivo or whatever. They drink it whenever they like it, whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And it's that good. Mind you, whenever we look at fruit, and you want to judge the quality of a good fruit, a good fruit would mean high in nutrition, high in the antioxidants. You would look at the darkest possible fruit. The dark wines are good. Sohiong is good. It's a very powerful antioxidant. Apart from the richness that it has in its taste, it has such a unique flavor, such a unique taste, that given a high quality Sohiong wine and your wines that you get from abroad, probably even your champagnes, one would prefer to drink Sohiong wine for its taste. If you want to make your wines strong, well, you've got yeasts that can make your Sohiong wine strong. Among us here, we try our best to limit the quantity of alcohol. As far as my wife is concerned, who makes the wine, I do all the talking, she does all the work. As far as we are concerned, we buy the yeast from the United States because we don't have that yeast here in India. And we buy the one that has only 2% alcohol. So that you won't get drunk, or you won't become a nuisance in your own house. So you have a very light content of alcohol, a very rich content of flavor, and a very rich taste. And obviously very, very rich in antioxidants. You can even make an 18% alcohol Sohiong wine, which then would be very strong. And for those who would like the strong wines, well, if we discover that there are a lot who want to drink strong wines, in which case you just hardly take a sip or two and put the glass away. Nobody does that here in our state, at least. If you pour them one glass, they finish the glass. They don't leave half. So 18% alcohol would be very strong, and it would get you a little tipsy. Now let's go. Now that I've told you a brief background on this wine making that we've gone into, let me tell you about how we go about making the wine. Obviously, we have to get the fruit. And we've got to make sure. You see, our state here is a very humid state. It's very humid. Sohiong grows in these very humid climates. And when it's a humid climate, it is rich not only in your fruit and your whole biodiversity that you find, it is also very, very rich in something that you can't see. Yeast. Yeast. So your Sohiong can become wine even if you don't use yeast. So why would I want to buy my yeast from America when I've got local yeast that grows here? My friends from Garo Hills are here. Now there is equally humid as we have here in the Khasi Hills. And when they make their drinks, like bichi, they call it bichi made out of rice, they just smear a leaf with the starch and hang it up overnight or even for 2 nights, and then that they put on top of the must, and it becomes wine. Local yeast. Well, we have local yeast here as well, and I started first making our wine with local yeast. I had to stop it. Why? I had some friends come over to the house. This is just a narration with a little humor in it. Some of my friends came over to the house and said, okay, yeah, we heard you're making wine, so give us some for taste. I said, fine, sure. I opened the bottle, and there was a strong smell of, as if you were in some patta. You know these pattas where they sell the local drinks? It's got that strong smell. That's because of the yeast. Now, that smell is a negative value. We want to get rid of that. So you've got to get the highest quality yeast that you can get. And you see, in Europe, where they make wine, they make a lot of wine there. Their climate is not so humid, so they don't have much yeast flying in the air. We have a lot of yeast flying in our air here, so we've got to be very careful about the yeast we use. We've got to be very careful that after we've prepared our must, which is the fruit, boiled, or if not boiled, it's got to be free from local yeast. Otherwise, you will get a very discouraging smell, a smell that people wouldn't like. They might like the taste, but the flavor would be lousy. So when you're making your soil, another thing that we have here in our state, our soils are largely acidic. And Sohiong loves to grow in acidic soils. And when it grows in acidic soils, that means its natural tendency is to be slightly acidic. It's not one of those fruit that's on the, what we might call the 7 pH level, slightly below that. It's acidic. So acidity is another character that we would like to get rid of. People don't want to eat anything that's too acidic. It could cause them tummy upsets. So in order to get rid of this acidity, we have, at least that's what we have done. There are other things that can be used. I would like to discourage the use of any chemicals or medicines that can reduce the acidity. I mean, you could use baking powder and that would bring the acidity down. But I would discourage you from using that because baking powder sometimes contains aluminum, it contains other elements and other minerals, and we don't know what else it's made from, so I wouldn't encourage that, though there may be people who use it. So instead of using all these chemicals to reduce the acidity, we boil our fruit. And the more you boil it, the acidity reduces. So now that was going to depend on you. That's my secret as to how much I boil it for how long do I keep it boiling. When you want to make wine, you might want to boil it for 5 minutes, you might want to boil it for 10 minutes, you might want to boil it for 10 hours. So that's your secret, it's your wine, it'll have your taste, the taste that you like. So I boil it, and after I boil it, then you've got to use some Camden tablets, that's just to remove. Camden tablets are just to remove any bacteria or any fungus that might still be there. In spite of boiling, there are some germs, bad germs. These germs can encase themselves and then come back to life when the situation is not so bad. So in order to get rid of them, we use about 1 Camden tablet in a 40-liter bucket. So you can imagine how less that is. It's just a small, minute particle, and it removes the risk of any other germ or bacteria that might be there. Now, after we've done that, you've got to put in your yeast. Now, like I told you from the start, you've got to choose what yeast you want. You want yeast that makes at beer level, which is about 5%. Sometimes your beers are 8%. You can choose what yeast you want. And fortunately, I can tell you, we don't have problem ordering our yeast from abroad. One of the best companies that I've come across is Boots. So if you get Boots yeast, you can be certain that you're getting one of the highest quality yeast that you get in the world. People in France even use Boost. So Boots. So if you get Boots, use it. You can get other qualities, use it. But try and test it out to know the best. So we put our yeast in a bucket of the must or the boiled Sohiong fruit, and we leave it there for as much time as we want. Some of you might not like to keep it for too long. Some of you might want to keep it long. If you read your books will tell you that you should keep it for 45 days. Well, that depends. You might want to increase the number of days. You might want to reduce the number of days so that you get the taste that your wine has or your wine is going to have, which will be unique to you yourself. And then comes a long period of wait. You've got to wait at least 45 days. You might want to wait more than that. I would never advise any of you to reduce it to less than 45 days, because if you don't wait for 45 days, your yeast will still be active. You see, the yeast that you put into your must for making your wine is going to be active the moment it gets in touch with sugar. There's a lot of sugar in Sohiong, a lot of starch, a lot of things that can be broken down. So the moment the yeast gets in touch with it, it starts activating. When it activates, a lot of bubbles come up on top, a lot of froth builds up on top, making it look like as if it's boiling hot, whereas it's not. Now, if you remove the wine from there, before this has stopped, then you'll get something like champagne. If you seal your bottle, and then when it's time to drink, you open it, it's going to just come frothing out. You see that pop, which I don't think is really good for a number of reasons. Number one, it might still have some sediments. And wine loses its value if there's any sediment in it. So you don't want sediments. I've seen some wine outside there, probably they're not making it in the validated way, they're making it from squash. I've seen some Sohiong wine as well. But a lot of sediment at the bottom. That sediment could be dangerous, could be risky to your health, could be risky to, I don't know what else, but we don't make wine that has any sediment. It must be free of your sediment. So leave your wine with your yeast to mature for as long as possible. Then the hard work comes in. You have a little bit of hard work in boiling and making the must. The hard work now comes in the filtration process. No matter how much your yeast has settled down, with the dead yeast would settle down, and you'll see it at the bottom in the sediment. You'll see the squash wine which they made there. You'll see a lot of sediment at the bottom. That is a little bit of squash and a little bit of dead yeast. So I'm not saying don't drink it, but I don't, and I wouldn't advise people to drink that because I'm not sure what it has. So when you see a sediment, know that it is dead yeast. It's there. So now, once you've removed it, the difficult time comes because now you've got to filtrate. You've got to continue to filter this out till absolutely no sediment is left. So you might have to filter it for 3 times, 4 times, or 5 times, and this will go on till you are absolutely certain now my wine is clear. And when you leave your wine in a glass, it doesn't form any bubbles. No bubbles are coming up. It's ready now for being bottled. So then you've got to bottle it. The difficulty in bottling it is that is number one. It's difficult to get the bottles. Wine bottles have to be procured. They're not like beer bottles. They're not like your ordinary whiskey bottles. You can't use plastic bottles. You've got to get glass bottles. And the glass bottles have got to have a dimple at the bottom. It's vital that they have this dimple at the bottom in order that the wine remains intact. The wine won't change its character. So these bottles we have to purchase from Haryana. Now here's the tough part because you have to bring your bottles from there, and then there's a lot of insurance for these bottles, so it costs a lot. So by the time it comes to Shillong, each bottle would be costing around about 60 to 70 rupees, depending on the number that have been broken on the road. Bottle it, and the caps, unfortunately, you can't buy the caps in Delhi, you can't buy the caps even in Haryana, we have to buy the caps from Mumbai. So we have to organize the Mumbai agent to send the caps to Delhi, the Haryana guy to send the bottles to Delhi, and then from Delhi we organize this guy to bring it up here, and usually we use Safex. Safex is quite a good transporter of the bottles we need. And that's the costly part, because you can't buy less than 5,000 bottles at a time. So 5,000 bottles would cost you some lakhs, 2.5 to 3 lakhs, and that's the investment that you've got to make. But then, if you invest 2.5 to 3 lakhs, you might be getting a return of around about 10 to 15 lakhs. That's about how profitable winemaking is. It's time-taking, it takes a whole year. It's not like how you can cook squash and eat it just within an hour. This takes time, but it's an investment that's worth making, not only because of its nutritional value and not because of the things that it can do, but because of the fact that this is something that will never fail to sell. It will always be available for sale. People will always come. My wife, we started with about 100 bottles. My wife has now started saying that, no, 500 bottles a year. And we sell ours at 500. There are some who sell at 300. There are some who sell at 400. We sell ours at 500. It's up to you to decide what price you want. Till the government regulates us and says that we have to sell it at a fixed price, well, then we will have a fixed price. But till then, we can sell it at whatever price we want. Once upon a time, I was getting a profit. When I was not buying these bottles that I buy from Haryana, I was getting a profit of more than 100 rupees by selling it even at about 120. I was barely spending 20 rupees for making a bottle of wine, and I was getting back about 100 rupees profit. So it was good business. It's very good business now, since we sell our wine at such a high price. Of course, we have to have the capping machine, we have to have the sealing machine, we've got to have all the machines that are required to be obtained. And I must thank the Department of Horticulture. They were very kind to us. They gave us money to buy all these equipment. We still are using them. We don't have actually any electrical equipment. Ours are all by hand. We can cap, we can bottle, and we can seal them and send them anywhere where people want. Some people come and buy ours right from Bombay, some from Bangalore, some from Delhi. Some people in Bangalore who were here once upon a time. When they had a wedding down there, they took bottles from here. So they asked us for about 1,000 bottles of wine. So that was good business, so not only for me, but also for all the members of our association. So I'm not going to tell you any secrets as to how I make my wine, but that, in a nutshell, is how wine is made. And in a nutshell, how much profit you can get by investing 2 or 3 lakhs in 1 year. Now, you might think that 2 or 3 lakhs is quite a lot. Well, if you come to the association, we can work out together to find a way by which we can get money to buy you the bottles, to buy you the sealing, the caps, to buy you the sealing machines, the bottling machines. And the government of India is still giving funds, although we've not applied for any more funds. It's getting difficult for us to even tackle the one that we're making at home. But the more people who can come into making wine, who are dedicated to the cause of making wine, and who will not give up, who will not just say that we'll make wine and then they sell it and they get a good profit and next year they don't continue. That's not the way things are done. If we want to establish ourselves and become proud of the natural products that we have here, we have got to stick onto the things that we are doing. So if you're doing it for 1 year, then don't come and make wine with us. But if you're planning to make this as a family and a family enterprise, something that will add to the money that you get in your family, I can assure you that if you can make up to 500 bottles of wine, you've got enough money to run a family of 6. You don't need any other source of income. Any other source of income that you get will be a savings. It's good enough to make 500 bottles of wine. You will get enough profit to ensure that your family of 6 will be properly looked after in all senses of the word. I'm not going to tell you that, no petrol costs are not covered, telephone bills or your mobile. Everything, all the things that you could want, you will get, and you'll have a savings on it. So take an interest in this, constitute yourselves into a group, join us as a federal group, and we can work as the agent to procure the funds that are required, probably the machinery as well, and then you all can start making wine in your places. And mind you, for the people from hotel management, I've had a lot of people from hotel management come over to our place to intern on wine making. I wouldn't understand why hotel management people would want their staff to know how to make wine. But they have always talked about our wine and said that it's perfect for a dessert, for a salad sprinkling. To sprinkle on your salads, it's got the perfect color, it's got the perfect taste, it improves the salad taste. So a lot of people, I've tried it myself, when I make my salads, I don't eat anything else except salad, sprinkled with a little bit of wine. So as much as we might have the opportunity of making wine, unfortunately we have only 13 members. I would love to see that we get more members. Like I said, in every tourist destination of our state, let's have a place where people make wine so that whoever comes will drink our wine, will not bring wine with them from Shillong, from the shops that you can buy them here. That's all I think I need to say. I'm sure I tried to tell you in the best way possible, and in with the short time that I had, I tried my best to compose the beginning of winemaking to the end. I've tried my best to encourage all of you. It is my job to encourage people to make wine. So I hope I've been able to succeed. If you have any questions to ask, or you have anything to add to what I say, I'd be very happy to join in the conversation, in the discussion. Please.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much, sir, for giving such a wonderful input about the Sohiong winemaking. If I'm not mistaken, sir, you are from Winemakers Association?
Yes,
Okay. I am a PhD research scholar from NEHU, and I am studying the possibilities of wine tourism in Meghalaya. I have done pilot study. I am doing my data collection. I have met so many wine entrepreneurs. And the last 3-4 years, I am following the Fruit Wine Festival, which is held every year in the month of November, December. So I'm in the words of data collection, sir, and I have done lots of related review literature as well. What is your idea about wine tourism in Meghalaya, sir? Like we have wine making as a cottage industry we have here, and lots of wine making has been done. It's not been legalized yet. As you have said, it's in the cabinet. I'm very happy to hear that, sir. Last time I happened to meet the excise minister, Mr. Mondal, last term when he was here, the excise minister. But till that time, it was nothing doing that time. So good to hear that is in the cabinet, sir. I want to hear from you, what are the possibilities of wine tourism in Meghalaya, sir? Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for that question. Let me put it this way, exactly what you're saying. Whether we can make wine with other fruit. You've got, Sohiong is not the only fruit that grows in Meghalaya. We've got a huge variety of fruit. And for those of you who are from here, Sotmintang, I don't know if you all know what is Sotmintang, but that becomes wine when it's on the tree. While it's growing on the tree, it becomes wine. And so you see the monkeys eating it and they get drunk. Probably that fruit is also available in Africa, where you find in Africa some animals eat a fruit and they get drunk eating it because it's already become wine. So I don't know, Sotmintang, you all will know better. The small round ones that you get, soft, which they sell in Bara Bazaar by the month of December, January, those become wine while they're on the tree. We can make wine with that. It has its own unique particular flavor. It has its own scent, which for me is pretty repulsive, but it's not as repulsive as, what's that wine you get in Goa, toddy or something? Fenny, yeah. That's extremely lousy when you smell it, but still people like it. Some people like lousy smelling things, they like to eat it. We guys love to eat tungtap. It stinks, but we still eat it. So it's there. It's available, and we make wine, sir, not only from Sohiong. I'm talking only on Sohiong because of the fact that it's a Sohiong festival. I'm sure I can make wine from Biskot, but why we don't make wine from Biskot is because it doesn't have a flavor. So you'd be drinking something that really has no taste, but probably has an effect. It'll be very strong wine that if we make with Biskot, it'll be really good and strong. So I was talking to one of the organizers here, and they were saying that we could add some flavoring. So I thought, yeah, if we put elaichi or you put dalchini, and at that time when you're fermenting it, if you use this, you might get some pretty good wine. But then we'll have to call it dalchini wine or cardamom or cinnamon wine, whatever it is, and not necessarily squash. But we are stuck to fruit, sir. So we start with mulberry, we got plum, we got peach, you got pear, you got your wild apple, which comes in the month of December, January. Of course, you've got Sohiong. And there are other fruit, pineapple. Of course, we've got a lot of pineapple, so we get some really good pineapple wine. And pineapple wine is sold in Indonesia as crapper. In the Southeast Asian countries, they sell it as crapper, Krappa. So we sent our wine there to some friends who were going down there. They said that this is better than the crapper that they get down there. Probably down there they must be using some essence to get the taste. But in our case, because of our highly acidic soils, the flavor in our pineapples is very strong, that even after you've made the wine, the flavor doesn't go off. The aroma lasts, and it's natural. It's not excessive. We never, ever, among our winemakers, use any additives, such as an essence. We use the natural fruit, and it retains its essence. We make with orange as well, and I'm sure in the Garo Hills you should get very, very good wine made from orange. I used to work in the Garo Hills, and I made orange wine once. Daniel Ingti brought some people from Delhi to taste the wine that I made there. They didn't want to stop tasting. They almost got drunk. It was so good. It was so good. Why Garo Hills is good is because, you see, you've got good temperature at the time when your orange fruit comes. Now in Shillong, the temperature goes a little too cold for winemaking. The yeast doesn't get so active. It loses its ability to convert the starch and the sugar into alcohol. But in Garo Hills, it continues kind of throughout the year. So you all are very fortunate that you got a lot of oranges, and you can make orange wine in winter. We have to keep our oranges till March or April, and then we make our orange wine. So wine tourism would be fantastic. It would be of great value to our state. People would come in droves to taste our wine, and they'd like to taste the different fruit that you make your wine from. But like I would say, we have to stick to validated procedures. You see, our people, they tend to know how to make booze. They tend to know how to, and they think that booze and wine is the same. And so they make their liquor or their grog, their booze, in a very unhygienic way. Now, no, I'm not being disparaging. I'm not saying that, that they are not as educated as us. No, but I'm telling you a fact, that the manner in which they make their wine, the cellar where they make their wine, is not clean enough. I fear that there may be thousands of strains of yeast in the air. And, it's not going to be good wine. You've got to be very hygienic. It's got to be very clean. You've got to make sure that you don't have the air coming in from outside freely. And you've got to have your exhaust fans to take out all the yeast or whatever that might come in by chance. So if you go and see the wineries in Europe, you'll be shocked. I mean, they're so careful about how they make their wines. We virtually use the same containers that they use in Europe to make our wines. So I would love to get an opportunity, but you see, our association is small. We're just 13 of us. And we really don't have much time to organize anything beyond the wine festival that we have. And even that wine festival is organized by Forever Young Sports Club. So they organize, we put in our inputs, and so the wine festival goes on. We've been making wine from 1995 till date. It's been a long time. Let me tell you one story in 2006. You see, in 2006, the Forever Young Sports Club brought in a foreigner from Germany. She was a professional wine taster. She was even used by the UB group, means Vijay Mallya, a very notorious character now. But at that point of time, he was not yet so notorious. He was employing her as a wine taster for the UB group. She was also the wine taster for a number of groups all over the world, even in France. So she came over and had a taste of our wine. You know, she tasted many people's wine that day. She also came to our stall. I'm not trying to promote Old Red. The name of my stall is Old Red. I'm not promoting, but I'm just telling you a matter of fact. She tasted the wine and said that, oh my gosh, is this local? I said, yeah. Can you tell us how you make it? I said, I'm sure, ma'am, you know how we make it. I can't tell you any more than that. But she said, this is as good as any of the wines I've tasted anywhere in the world. Now, that was enough to tell me that if we use our talent that we have, and if we use the resources that we have over here, we can make wine that can compete or challenge and put to shade any wine anywhere in the world. I have a sister who's from America. She comes here, and then when she tastes my wine, she says that, oh, and I have a brother who's in Italy. So you see, I've got a lot of foreign connections, although I myself don't have to go there. But she was once in Italy with my brother, and now she's in America. So when she came and tasted my wine, other people will tell you their stories. I can tell you only mine. She said, this is amazing. There is a hint of Italy or Italian wine, and also a hint of Californian wine. Now, that was a compliment that probably if you wanted to taste the kind of wine that we make here, you'd have to go and buy Italian wine and Californian wine and blend the two, and then you'd get something that tastes like our wine. But she said, our wine is good. It's class. And like I said, Nesfast, when they took our wine down to Delhi, they got a shock that it was so good. And now whenever our principal secretary, R.M. Mishra, goes down to Delhi, invariably he asks for a case of wine, which he takes down there. So that certifies the kind of wine that we make, which is good. And if we go in for wine tourism, it can be the whole year event. It doesn't have to have a season. We've got wine that's good in the rainy season. We've got wine that's good in the dry season. So I'd be very happy if someone initiated something like this and joined us. Help us out to progress our activities, to widen the perspective of our activities, not only to wine making. Thank you, sir.
My studies are still on, sir. When we see Meghalaya, Meghalaya has got lots of exotic fruits that we don't get in other part of the country. And as I have visited the wine festival held here, the wines are of tremendous quality. Tremendous means, I have met so many connoisseurs, the wine tasters who used to come from different part of the world. They have even said that these wines are not less than champagne in terms of quality. So, do we have any benchmarking agency or any government agency which is gonna do the benchmarking for your wine?
Obviously, we don't have that in our state. But some of us who are in this group, the winemaking group, like I told you, the Department of Horticulture was very kind and they gave us a lot of money. So to give us the money, then it was for me to conceptualize what should we get, what should we buy with this money that they've given us. So we bought pH meters, number 1, to make sure that our wine, test the pH, is going to hit 7. So you're safe drinking our wine. Number 2, we have alcohol meters. So now, if you want a wine that is 5% alcohol, well, you've got to do what is required to make it 5%. Mine is all 2% and below. What are the meters that we have? We've got a number of meters anyway for this. But obviously, if we want to have an agency that is going to lay down the criteria or the parameters that our wine should meet, that's going to be a little difficult because we've all got different manners in which we make our wine. Some people make their wine fermenting it for 20 days, 40 days, 100 days. So the quality of wine is going to change just by the number of days that you ferment it. And there'll be those who will prefer somebody else's wine and not mine. They've got a taste. But I would like to try to stress on the government, and when they do call us for a meeting, I would like to stress that, number 1, we should look only at, is there anything which is harmful to health in this wine? Not on the alcohol content, no. Alcohol content might vary from person to person. Not on the quantity of fruit utilized. You see, some people might make 1 kg of fruit to make 10 bottles of wine. Some might use 1 kg to make 20 bottles of wine, 5 bottles of wine. So we're not going to base on those standards. But I would like to see that you can have varying alcohol percentages from 2 to 18. Government should allow that. They've got to be fair enough to us that we can make wine of this sort, number 1. Number 2, they've got to be certain that this is made from a very healthy environment, a very hygienic environment, clean. The equipment used must be certified. The procedures adopted must be validated procedures. Then the wine that comes out will be safe. Otherwise, I fear it could be dangerous. So for that purpose only, I would love government to have an agency. I don't mind if I'm a member of the agency to ensure that. And I've been making wine from 1995, so that's giving me about 23 years of wine making. Probably there's no one around here in Shillong who's been making wine for longer than that. So I'd like to play a role in case they appoint an agency. I'd like to be a member of that agency to ensure that the procedures of winemaking will be checked by us. Insofar as the other, they might say that you pay 5% tax or excise duty or whatever, or 20% or 100%. Well, that will, somebody else can work that out. But we would like to stick to the standard procedures of winemaking to make it healthy. The bottles that are used. We don't want to use plastic bottles. We want to use good glass bottles. So that, I hope, will answer your question, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
I have some questions, sir.
Yeah, please.
And some requests also. Actually, I want to know, is it from Garo Hills also can be member your organization?
Yeah, it's called the Meghalaya Wine Association.
Okay, sir. Then one thing, sir, our rice beer, rice wine is, how much it's longer, it's better. So your products, it is manufactured to expiry date is there?
No, we don't have an expiry date.
Okay.
Wine gets better as it gets older.
Okay, sir. Actually, like sir, earlier you said about Garo Hills, we have a lot of fruits. You know. Actually, I scared. Actually, in general, no, they have expiry, no. But in other wine, other alcohol, no.
See, well, you know what I might, if you talk about an expiry date, okay?
Yeah.
I've seen wines in Garo Hills which they make, and then they put it from that, make it from rice.
Yes, yes.
Largely from rice.
Yeah.
They put it into a bottle and then they cap it. Huh?
Yeah.
When you open that, it bursts. Boom.
Yes, yes.
You know, so that's frightening. I wouldn't encourage that unless you are certain that what you've made is of champagne, as you said. It's champagne. So if you want to make champagne, there's a certain way of making champagne. The way the Garos make their wine, that's not champagne. That's actually immature wine, not yet fully matured.
Okay.
They shouldn't have bottled it so early.
Okay.
If I bottle my wine early,
Yeah.
it'll do the same thing. It will burst when you open it up. So that's not good. That's not good for health. Okay. You'll get some active yeast in your stomach, and that active yeast might be good, might be bad. You know, a lot of tests have to be done. So we don't want active yeast in our tummy. Okay.
Thank you, sir. And I learned with this Peter and all. I like this one. Filter, no? I learned with this traditional, you know, we don't have such good filter and all, even in rice beer also. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. If that is all, I think I can come to the end of the talk that I was to give. I hope you all have all enjoyed what I had to say. I hope I kept you all interested. And I hope more of you join us and make some better wine in Shillong. Thank you very much.